And so yeah, the other movies of May. Uh there's a speaking of, we were talking about Lloyd Bridges, Jeff Bridges had a movie come out this month called American Heart. It's him and this documentary filmmaker made her first narrative feature called American Heart, and Jeff Bridges plays this ex-con who's begrudgingly partnered up with his strange son, which is Edward Furlong, before Edward Furlong became, yeah, strung out.
Shouldn't have done it.
He
That was
gives a
me.
really good performance, and usually I associate Edward Furlong with being whiny because of Terminator and like Pet Cemetery and some of the other things he's done. But he actually gives a really good understated performance. Actually, they both do, and the movie's actually really good. If we hadn't picked Hot Shots,
Yeah, this would probably be a hidden gem.
yeah. One of
So we should see
Tristan's
it.
probably Tristan's favorite Ivan Reitman movie came out this month.
Oh yes,
Dave.
forgot this
Speaking
was.
of political comedy that still is just as fresh as when it was made, but it also has a bit of a, like I was saying, a bit of a Capra-esque twist to it because they get somebody who looks like the president to take over for the president.
This is what you were just talking about with the Saddam thing. This is the
Yeah.
plot of Dave,
Yes, exactly.
where
Honestly, it might be one of my favorite Kevin Kline performances.
so this was my introduction to Kevin Kline. This is why he's one of my favorite actors. He I don't know. There's something about it where it's funny that we say that they didn't really get the Clinton jokes right away, but in 1993, they're clearly having a guy in office sleep around with his secretary, and the Kevin Kline, the person that's actually president, has a heart attack, but he doesn't die. So they have the same person, like the person that's going around as his doppelganger for parties and like ribbon cutting ceremonies, come in and just perform speeches for him. And they think this will work. But they end up finding out that he cares about policy just as much as the American person should. So in a Frank Capra-esque way, he finds his way to making the world a better place. And
funny in movies like this, the villain is usually kind of one dimensional, and I don't mind it when it's Frank Langella because he's so good.
mm-hmm. Yeah, he's quite good in it. Ben Kingsley has a good part as well, popping up towards the end as the vice president.
Arnold has a cameo in this.
Mm-hmm. And he's joking about maybe I'll have a political career.
Yes.
93.
Yeah.
So he clearly wanted to be governor or something at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Sigourney Weaver also plays the first lady. And so she and her husband have been estranged, but when she finds that he's actually a nice person and slowly discovers who Dave is, they have incredible chemistry. Also, my introduction to Sigourney Weaver, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't see Ghostbusters for a while.
And Aliens, yeah,
or Alien, yeah. Both of them I saw like as a teenager. So
nice.
Yeah. I saw this in 93.
So yeah, one of the better political comedies from the time, and doesn't, like we said, doesn't feel dated. Much Ado About Nothing, Kenneth Branagh's adaptation of the Shakespeare play, which has an all-star cast. Yeah, sometimes I almost forget how many well-known actors are in it. You got Denzel, you got Michael Keaton, Robert Sean Leonard, who isn't really relevant nowadays, but Kate Beckinsale, one of her first movies, Emma Thompson, who's perfect at delivering that Shakespearean dialogue. She narrates, and she's kind of the main focus of the movie. I always thought the movie's a little overrated, and plus there's a bit of a clash in tones. It's good. I don't think it's my favorite of his Shakespeare adaptations. In fact, of the frothier ones, I probably like Love Labor's Lost a little bit more. For me, the pinnacle of his Hamlet adaptation.
Mm-hmm. I have seen none of his Shakespeare adaptations. I got to get around to that.
Yeah.
I love this play. It's the one I did. We had a class at DeSales for theater directing, and we all had to do a Shakespeare scene, and my scene was from Much Ado. So
the only problem with the movie is I feel like even though there's some big name cast members, some of them are a little miscast and can't really deliver the dialogue as well. Denzel surprisingly did better in the Macbeth adaptation years later.
Well, he had like 30 years to figure it
Yeah,
out.
and same thing with I never minded him in Bram Stoker's Dracula, but Keanu's quite bad here.
You
Um,
complained about him in Dracula. Every time that
I
was
didn't
what I said
complain
was the
about him.
best thing.
When Mario Van Peebles took the clout that he got from New Jack City and directed one of the first black cowboy movies called Posse, which initially starts off as a really good, like, historical action movie, but then kind of falls prey to the same cliches as the rest of the genre. But it's weird. He just like Kenneth Branagh in the last movie, he cast himself in the lead role, but he almost plays the role a little too mythic, a little too stoic, to the point where there's not much of a character underneath of it, aside from the archetype. So it's kind of a missed opportunity.
Do you think it's worth it to see in the first place? Because we didn't really have anything like this until The Harder They Fall a couple of years ago.
Right.
And I think for people to discover it, they could see like a history of black cinema at least.
Sure.
So
yeah, just like his dad.
Timepiece.
Yeah, just like his dad, Melvin Van Peebles, he's kind of a pioneer with stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, between it and honestly, if you're gonna watch a Mario Van Peebles directed movie, watch Badass, which is based on his dad's seminal movie.
It's on my Netflix queue, trying to finish that up.
Fantastic. Speaking of African American cinema, Menace to Society came out, which is like the polar opposite of when we talked about Boys in the Hood. So that if that was more optimistic, this is way more cynical and pessimistic. And the Hughes brothers this is their debut film, and they did a fantastic job. The movie's powerhouse. It's amazing, and it actually, I guess they were at the forefront of like casting Lorenz Tate in movies because he was a bit of a rising star in the '90s. So between this and Dead Presidents, their later movie, you get to see the range that this actor has. But actually, just as a gritty crime drama, it's arresting. It's a fantastic movie. This is the first time I've seen it. Kind of ashamed I hadn't seen it before now, but it's terrific, and it doesn't. The main character is morally ambiguous, so they don't try to glamorize or romanticize the lifestyle, but they also don't try to vilify it at the same time. So it feels very matter of fact, which actually works in the movie's favor. So the great thing is it doesn't get on a soapbox. So there's no speechifying in the movie. It's just a very clear-cut, candid portrait of that area and time. So yeah, I highly recommend the movie.
Does it take place in LA as well?
It does. I want to say South Central again, but
sure.
I don't want to.
I wanted to see this before we got to this. I forgot it was May. So I'll get around to it.
Weirdly, another movie that's kind of could be considered black cinema is Made in America.
Kind of.
Kind of in a way. It's almost about mixed couples in a way. It's Ted Danson took a break from Cheers and filmed a movie on his hiatus with his then girlfriend, Whoopi Goldberg. The premise is that Whoopi has a daughter, Nia Long, who she doesn't know who her father is because her mother was artificially inseminated. So she goes to find out who the sperm donor was, and it happens to be Ted Danson.
I didn't know what that was about.
Yeah, and actually, it's an early role for Will Smith. It was very funny in the movie, actually, as her best friend, Nia Long's best friend. And actually, I think it's a charming little movie. I kind of enjoy it.
This could have been another one we covered for Hidden Gems.
Yeah, as a fish out of water farce, it works. And actually, they had really good chemistry. You could kind of tell that they had some. They were dating off screen, even though there was an incident that maybe could have put an end to Ted Danson's career at the time.
Let's leave that back in 1993.
Yeah, you can all look it up. You can
Yeah.
find it. Funnily enough, what's the biggest movie of the year right now?
In
2023.
2023.
Yes.
15th overall box office of all time. What do you say?
I believe so.
Would it include plumbers?
I believe so.
And lizards?
Yes.
And mushrooms?
Yeah, so 30 years ago, they made a live action adaptation of Super Mario Brothers.
Whee! Hey!
So we're on the anniversary of it.
A cult classic.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because actually, I grew up on the movie. I could see the flaws in it. I still unabashedly love it.
Ditto.
I think that Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo are terrific as brothers.
This is why I like chemistry together. This is why I like both of them. Yeah,
they're really good together.
It's a classic cyberpunk dystopian piece of cinema.
Yeah.
Just drop the cult part. It's just a classic now.
Yeah. This is why Daisy is my favorite Mario character. Because of what's her face?
Samantha Mathis?
Samantha Mathis, yeah. She's great in that movie.
If nothing else, even if you don't like the movie, you have to admire the production design of of the underground Manhattanscape. It looks terrific.
I still to this day remember the when Discovery Channel had Movie Magic, that show. They did an episode on Super Mario Brothers, and like they got into detail with the animatronics for Yoshi. So that was pretty cool.
It's cool. Yeah, and only one of these Mario movies has Yoshi.
That's right. I don't remember Goombas in the newest one, but they're in this.
Did they not face Goombas at all?
I don't remember them.
In the original?
No, in the new
movie?
There were like one or two of them.
You're the only one of the four of us that hasn't seen the new one.
Oh, yeah, I'm the loser.
No, you're not. You're fine.
Stay under the credits.
Oh, wait.
It's not bad. It's just kind of there.
Oh,
yeah, it's weird that
it's for kids.
I prefer this, obviously, but
colorfully it's for kids. But honestly, listen, that movie's a parody in itself too, because it's all references.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
but you know what's funny? This was speaking of being introduced to actors for the first time. This might have been my introduction to Bob Hoskins because I hadn't seen Roger Rabbit yet.
Same here.
And so I didn't know that he was British.
Yeah,
I thought he does a great Brooklyn accent.
Oh yeah.
Wait, who was?
I never really thought
Bob Hoskins.
What?
You didn't know he was British?
No.
You haven't seen?
Oh my god! It just blew your mind.
You haven't seen Mona Lisa?
Holy cow!
Yeah, man.
Hey, don't
Mamma mia!
Hey, come on, Luigi,
You're a
come
dog
over here.
daddy.
Hey, what do you want more than anything in the world, Luigi?
Oh yeah, a piano.
I did not realize his nickname was also the Cockney Cagney.
Oh yeah, man.
Wait, really?
Yep.
According to IMDb.
Yeah, so he's fantastic in the movie, and whether the production was a nightmare as it was been described over the years, I feel like it doesn't show on screen because the casting and everything's great.
I was at a panel about like making art yesterday, and they were talking about like sometimes you have to let yourself fail to see what you can improve, and sometimes the best art comes from accidents. So I think sometimes cult classics don't just mean classics in our sense of the word that we're talking about Mario, but like sometimes you can appreciate the good stuff in the bad, and this isn't say bad to us. Right. So I think besides being subjective, it's like even if a production's rough, you might be able to make a hidden gem.
It's funny because now I think about it, I'm like, I appreciate they didn't do just a transposed adaptation like the new one, which they basically just recreate the world of the video game. They kind of they morph it and adapt it, and I don't want to say mongrelize it, but make it a little bit different. To the point where I don't think you even need to play the video games to get invested in the movie.
That's the thing about the 90s, I think, where the way you make a thing is trying to either make it as serious as possible, or like, what could we do to make this ours? Sometimes they don't even read the material or play the games or whatever. So they just get a bit of information and try to make it from there. So
He's walking in the office. Hey, you know what my kid picked up the other day?
it's about these two guys. One's red, one's green. What do you think?
He's trying to explain to me
Yeah.
he's a fucking plumber and some dinosaurs in the
Yeah.
sewer.
What's
like,
her last name?
And mushrooms.
Their both
I was
last name
like,
is Mario. Who cares?
Super
they don't care about
boots.
details.
Luigi
Hey,
Mario.
who was that guy that did that fucking rabbit movie? What are we?
Yeah, too many times with movies these days, they try to make a mythology and make it so precise that you won't get called out on something.
Yeah, because the
Probably
internet is an
nowadays.
unforgiving pile of assholes.
I read
Yeah.
I want to go on a short tangent real quick. I read a thing today or the other day that apparently when they were making Return of the Jedi, because they noticed that the blue lightsaber would disappear against the blue background of the sky of Tatooine for Luke, they made it green. And when asked, how do we explain that Luke has a new lightsaber? Lucas is like, who cares? The worst you're going to get is a letter from Starlog. So imagine the days when you didn't have to worry about the internet.
Lore.
Yeah. And they made a scene. They have a deleted scene where Luke is making a new lightsaber, but they cut in a line, and this is all you need. Vader's like, oh, I see you made a new weapon. Now you are a full Jedi. And it's in his mask, so he may not have even said that on set. That's something they got James Earl Jones to do, to cover it, like who
They
cares?
all retroactively try to create lore from things, and it's like it gets
Yeah.
convoluted after a while.
And now there's a whole comic book series about Luke making his lightsaber. It's like
There's
come on.
comic books. There's like all of these in between
yeah.
shows on Disney Plus. Like,
Yeah.
A fleeting line in a movie back then can just become expanded into a whole.
Yeah.
that's where Rogue
Yeah.
One came from.
I know.
Exactly. But
Anyway.
yeah, getting back to this movie, and this is the last thing I'll say about it is the movie that we have in theaters right now is, I know it's called the Super Mario Brothers, but we don't get much of Luigi. In this, I felt the camaraderie and the brotherhood between these two.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is this
They're
movie
great together.
was called Mario before it was changed to the current title.
Fair.
So I think that's why. This is supposed to encompass the thing. I think it should have been called Super Mario World, because then it would have been encompassing all the stuff. You get Donkey Kong, who isn't really in the Mario games.
Well, this ended on a cliffhanger. They could have this potentially done well. We could have expanded this.
Daisy wasn't in this new movie. She could show up in the new one.
So the last movie that we're going to talk about before we get to Jeff's feature is a biopic, actually, called Dragon: The Bruce Lee Story.
Oh, that's a good
Weirdly
one.
enough, I like this better than any Bruce Lee movie. They do a weird thing. It's kind of almost innovative in a way, because they take obviously they take Bruce Lee's life and history and make that the scaffold for the movie, but then they also put in Bruce Lee fight scenes interspersed throughout the movie, so you're almost getting like elements from his films intermingling with stories from his life, and I think it does a brilliant job of doing that, actually. And
so the structure is sound.
Yeah, the structure is great because it's not a straight biopic, and it's not formulaic in any way. So, and I think Jason
Yeah, no,
Scott
like I know
really
they took liberties on his back injury too, I think.
they did take a lot of liberties with stuff. But I mean, I don't want to say in a way that it's definitely heightened, but it's extremely entertaining. It's probably Rob Cohen's best movie outside of Dragonheart.
Not The Mummy 3?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that takes us to Jeff's featurette.
Poster boy.
Oh boy.
Now, I will say that this you may know right away, but let's see what you think. Let's just go straight to it.
Can't wait for this.
Okay.
Do
Do you recognize this at all?
Maybe.
I like how you cropped it.
Uh-huh. I'm learning on Photoshop.
Yeah, Jesus.
This is an educational cut podcast now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're looking at.
You don't recognize this right off the bat, right?
I don't.
Okay. So you can describe it, but I'm pretty much there's nothing to like step forward to. So we'll give you hints, but I don't have any other
All right.
real images. I have a tagline I can show you.
I'm actually
Not
kind
gonna
of
give you
astonished
anything.
how you did this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's currently. All right. So it's separated into 3 sections. Bottom part is mountains, middle part is sky, the top part I'm assuming is some sort of ominous cloud. There's a helicopter flying through it. No.
Mm-hmm.
That's Jake. Oh, maybe it's the ground. Maybe it's someone flipping upside down. Is this MASH? Is this...
Bash.
No, that helicopter's red.
There's
It
a,
can't be
there's a
mad.
helicopter
Bash.
that could very well be like flipping upside down, but it's not. Or maybe
No.
that's just. Oh my God!
Yeah,
I don't
this
know.
is tough
It's a
'cause
weird
you don't-
optical illusion thing.
because you don't know where it's coming from. You might
know
be on
what?
the side of the mountain.
One's in the
Hold on
mountains.
1 second.
One's on, but I can't tell if it's like if he's flying over the mountains or like past the desert.
What's he doing over there?
I think this
I'm
is
trying to
messing with
look at
Jeff.
it
Is this-
upside down. This is very confusing.
Is this
You know-
volcano?
You don't know what this is either.
It looks like a volcanic.
No,
ash
I
cloud.
don't.
That's what
This
I
is
thought.
bugging me.
All right, I'll give you a tagline.
I could have swore Jimmy would have known.
But I know. No, you know
No,
what it
no.
is. No, okay, I see what this is because this is all. Hang on, I'm not looking at the tagline yet because I can tell where Tristan did the Photoshop job. Otherwise,
yeah.
otherwise they are not doing that. So there's a
Oh,
rock
Snowpiercer. That's what it is.
somewhere.
That's the original
An
stuff.
avalanche of thrills. Okay.
I want to read that.
Maybe
as Big
Bernard of the New
Shallow.
York Post.
An avalanche of grills.
Is it avalanche? No.
No, there's no book called Avalanche.
Initially I thought Point Break, but that's surfing. So
Mhm.
hang on. Okay. Can I try the plot?
Yeah.
A medevac helicopter gets lost in a snowstorm. On its way.
Mm,
They're trying to deliver the president or something. I don't know.
mm.
No, too
No.
far. The needle went way too far to the left.
You didn't come up with a plot of a movie.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
big game, right?
Yeah, that's
So this
Samuel
is-
Jackson.
it's very clearly there is some sort of plane crash or car, like some that darkness above looks far too destructive. This has to be a thriller.
It's not a cloud. Do you want to tell him what those are?
No, it's not a. I know it's not actually a cloud. It's a darkness above.
Yeah,
You want me to tell him?
it's just rocks.
Yeah,
It's just rocks. Like
Alright.
Why are the rocks in the sky? Wait a minute, hang on.
Not
Is this a cave
stalagmite.
thing?
I might
They're flying
have
through
an
a cave?
idea.
Is this
Mhm.
is this trapped in a cave? Are they
No.
trapped in a no? Is this Everest?
Mm-mm.
No. K2?
Mm,
Well, we
getting
already talked
closer.
about K2.
Getting closer though, at least.
Kilimanjaro? Is it named after a mountain?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
Do you wanna
I'm
give
hanging
him
on my
Nation?
nails on this one.
Do you want to give him the plot and then without saying like who's in it or anything?
Right.
And then maybe you can come up with a name just to get some extra points. I'm actually going to give you points for that the
It's,
plot you came up with because it's a real film.
There's a heist that happens on a on a commercial jet, and they crash land, but the cash is strewn about on the mountain, so they have to get an expert mountain climber to help them find the suitcases full of cash.
I'm on the edge
Oh.
of my seat on this one.
This is
Jimmy knows what it is.
I think you figured it out.
is it cliffhanger?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
What the
Yeah. Took me a solid second for that one. I was just like, ah.
So you could tell where I'd done that.
I could tell
Look at
where you
that.
used the stamp thing because it
Yeah, I figured out how to do a clone stamp or whatever it is.
That's awesome.
You actually,
Love it.
it's
You
it's
know,
just
I-
like
They look
fill.
good.
You just fill. You just pencil around everything. You like cut out Stallone and you say fill, and it just covers it with the elements around it. So like around his arm, it
Yeah.
just his hand is rock now, and his body is sky and mountain.
That's
I mean, if
weird.
it,
So it just like folds in. So like
Yeah.
you can see, I don't know if you can see my cursor in the recording, but you can see
Yeah.
the two mountains. There are three there, and they're kind of there, but they know what would be behind them.
yeah.
Now I'm
Technology.
imagining.
Well,
I'm
if you-
imagining Stallone on a set taking a picture, just going like this.
That's definitely photoshopped anyway.
Well, yeah. If you
Back
make
in
it, if it
93.
makes you feel better, if you look at the right side of the cliff, it's also like they clearly needed to expand it to get to the edge of the picture.
Oh, this is because of the original my format. That's all. So yeah. Anyway, I have another one for you that you might be able to.
Oh,
Okay.
wait,
because-
has anybody else? I mean, Jimmy's seen it.
You've
Oh.
seen it, Jimmy?
I don't remember if I seen it. That's the thing. Like I have a good feeling that I did, but it might have been only once.
Well, between
That's
this and Demolition Man, he had a really good year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta see those.
Two really solid Stallone movies before the '90s really went downhill for him.
Yeah. After Dread.
Dread, The Specialist, some other
Mm.
Assassins.
Mm.
I think Dread was the
Well, it's funny
Uh,
that we're showing this now because they just announced a Legacy sequel.
They did. Where his daughter is the cliffhanger.
Is that what it is? His
Yeah.
daughter?
Yeah, it's doing a child thing.
Passing of the torch.
Exactly. He imagined he's like almost 70. He's not going to be doing this anymore.
But how about we just don't do it?
I know
It's
exactly.
not gonna stop him from trying.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So the
Yeah, it's a
next
really good movie.
one, yeah, I want to see it. This one I think we could have
Plus
done, but
John
it was too
Lithgow's-
popular.
John Lithgow's the villain. You never go
Oh
wrong.
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
forgot.
Like last year's thing we did.
Raising Cain.
Yeah. So the next one is trying to jump the gun to get ahead of what's coming next month, the biggest film of the year, and they thought they would adapt their own novel.
Yeah, I forgot this is based on a book.
I know this movie.
Oh my god.
This is also based on a book, right?
The book
Yeah.
that came out earlier than the other one.
Yeah.
Is this? I mean, very clearly, this is supposed to be. It's similar to Jurassic Park. So
There
it's a
you go.
guy. There's some sort of creature, dino jaw. Up
By the way, I don't know who those two people are.
overlooking
They're not
I
in the
have no
film.
clue who those two people are.
overlooking some guy in a leather jacket holding a presumably dead woman in a red dress in the typical like draped style. I
can't tell what that tagline is.
It says
hard
Roger
to read.
Corman presents, which leads me to
Yeah.
believe
Oh,
this
is that
is
what
a
it is?
ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't feel like taking that out.
Is this like just raptor? Like, is it just the name of a dinosaur? or
You know what's
something?
funny?
No.
Is
Velociraptor?
It might be.
there's a sequel to the movie called Raptor.
Is it?
There's a sequel to this movie called Raptor, yes.
Oh, okay.
Is it just dinosaur? Diane Ladd. Or
You're
Ladd.
that-
Got some
close.
of the name.
So close.
Yes.
You want to?
Dinosaur.
Jimmy, you know what it is?
What
Like-
would you
like-
call it, Jeff?
Is it Dynasty, but it's spelled you know?
So
God.
no.
Taking away points now.
Just sink your teeth into it, man. Just like
Your
just
negative
imagine.
points this week,
Yeah,
this month.
just
All right, I'm gonna
imagine
get-
what like that sucker.
Here's the tagline.
Driven to extinction, back for revenge,
Yeah.
It's a great tagline. yeah.
resurrection.
It is an animal's name, so
Okay.
That's not a real
It's called-
species, though, is it?
it is.
Is it
Is
called
it?
T-Rex?
It's in the book Lost World. Actually, when
Okay.
Sarah Harding arrives at the island, that's the first one she encounters.
Is it Pterodactyl?
No,
Pterodactyl?
that's not a real dinosaur.
That's an asylum movie. Let's not get crazy.
It's
I know
gotta be
Jimmy's
some
been
sort of
on these two, man. He's been knowing these poster
Well, he's
boys
seen
lately.
him. I was pretty sure Jimmy had seen this one. You've seen it, right, Jimmy?
Oh yeah. I'm just used to the other image for the movie.
Yeah, we
is
really
this
can't
like
do,
this,
like, the whole
this
video
one I
release. We
this
didn't
one
wanna
I've
use that one.
seen
I
far
should've saved it.
rarer.
Is this Turok?
No.
Dinosaur
They
Hunter.
should
I
do a
think you're
Turok movie. You're right.
It's Carnosaur, man.
Carnosaur.
Yeah.
Well, you heard of Carnosaur, haven't you? That big movie.
Oh yeah.
I remember
This-
both this and Cliffhanger always being on the
Thi-
shelves of Blockbuster.
This movie legitimately scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Where?
Really?
Yeah, no, for some reason, like I saw it like really late at night. I like rented it from like Blockbuster or some crap like that, and like I watch it. I'm like, yep, no, not watching this again because like I watched it really late at night.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just rewatched it
Yeah.
for the podcast. It's so boring.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, well, they because obviously they had a limited budget, so they couldn't show the dinosaur
Yeah,
too
they did.
much. And
Okay.
it's also about Diane Ladd.
I wish.
Weirdly enough, cross fertilizing the dinosaur eggs with her own. She's birthing dinosaur. Yeah, I don't even.
It got
Wait,
really weird. Like even for a little kid, it's just like
But
wait.
it's unseemly.
yeah.
Even for
Also,
you.
For some reason,
Yeah, for me.
I watched the
And
crap
I'm
out of the
sleazy.
sequels. The sequels were just
Sequels have better
they're-
posters. They're cooler. I
Yeah,
should have
because
saved
and
those.
they're more sci-fi-y.
Yeah, the
especially
sequel,
by the
like the
third
second one, I know in particular because for some reason I rewatched that recently. So it's straight up aliens ripoff. They
Yep.
go down to find out what happened in the first movie. They go down to the facility. This elite team goes down there, and of course they get slaughtered by. I think there's only 2 dinosaurs. So of course, because the budget's lower, they don't have much to do.
The funny thing I like about this, though, is that it's Diane Ladd, who is the mother of Laura Dern, in
Yes.
the 2 dinosaur movies back to back.
It's crazy.
So,
Wow.
poor
But
Diane.
Roger Corman started that whole thing that the Asylum does now, which is they do mockbusters.
Mm-hmm.
They capitalize on the success of something that's doing really well.
So
at the
Grandma
box
will
office.
accidentally pick up the wrong thing. You wanted Transmorphers, right?
I was about to say that was the
No,
main thing I thought
Transmorphers.
about when Blockbuster
Yeah.
was open. I was like, Transmorphers.
Yeah.
The font and you could the title's so similar you could almost accidentally pick this up and think it's a Transformer.
Yeah,
You know what?
right.
It's probably it might be
It's
best.
legitimately for old grandmas that mistake it for something awesome and bring it home to the grandson, and they're like,
Hey, little
"This is the
Timmy, I
same
got
thing,
you
right?
Transmorphers.
It's like Transformers, but better." Or they just legit think it's Transformers, and
It's
Yeah.
only a $2 rental fee as opposed to $3. Okay.
Mm.
And that's how the Germans dupe us again, because that's a German studio, right?
Is that
Asylum, I think so.
Yeah, like they
They
which is
outsource
why
all their filming
such
overseas. I know
like
that.
it's like why their English is so way off and like the budget is so low.
Well, they also take effects that are like plug-in effects.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so when the effects look really good, you can tell like that was a program they bought. They just manipulated those effects.
It's like what was the thing that we used to make a ninja attack? The little fire that you can make at the bottom. Oh, we're behind a wall of flames.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
So we want to talk
I
about
know
favorite
we
spoof?
usually do favorite performance by a specific actor, but we don't really need to do Charlie Sheen because we all think Hot Shots is his best. But
He was a hot shot in Hot Shots.
Corey had suggested, and he kind of talked, as I was saying, we were going to do our favorite spoof. So I had sent you guys a list of all the parody films that are out there. We kind of went through all these different people that have made, you know, different things like Mel Brooks. Who else has done a bunch of films? Like the guys behind South Park have Basketball, you know.
Well, that's
Mike Myers does a
Zucker's.
bunch.
Basketball is a Zucker.
Is it really?
Yeah.
David Zucker, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one that's kind of a subgenre of the spoof genre.
Yeah.
Which is the mockumentary.
Oh, I can see.
So
that.
mine is This is Spinal Tap, which is basically like it's a spoof of those rock documentaries I used to get during the time, like Give Me Shelter, This is The Last Waltz, Stop Making Sense. It's also Rob Reiner's first directorial movie. But I mean, it feels like a Christopher Guest movie, but because he took, obviously, him and his collaborators took that template and he ran with it.
Hmm.
But everything in that movie is so perfect that you're almost like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is a real band or not. This could be a real band. If I didn't know these actors from later things, this could be a real band.
Well, they actually play instruments.
And then they toured.
And
so it actually
they
took
did A
off.
Mighty Wind, they all know what they're doing. So it's kind of funny when that sort of thing happens.
Matter of fact,
Known as a lark, and then
they're filming a belated sequel, I think, right now.
This is tough. There's so many good ones that you're not sure what. Oh fuck! I forgot about all the Edgar Wright movies.
Those are technically spoofs.
Yeah. So there's someone that's trying to do stuff that's
well, because we were talking about, what, Tristan, I got one for you, maybe. I texted you last week about one. We were just talking about David Wayne.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I was gonna maybe go with that because I want to go with Young Frankenstein. That's my favorite Mel Brooks, but
that's great.
I think I might like Wet Hot American Summer the most in this example. So I think I'm gonna go with Wet Hot American Summer.
Awesome.
1941.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Again,
you know what?
Yeah, 1941.
I love 1941. I think that's one of Spielberg's most underrated movies.
Yeah. I didn't know it was Spielberg until I played it, and then I saw it in the credits. I'm like, wait, what? Best movie I ever, one of the best.
Talk about putting a lot of effort in the sight gags. Like all those Rube Goldberg device sight gags that happened in that movie must have cost a fortune.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking specifically the Ferris wheel one.
Oh yeah.
Where it comes off the hinges and just rolls.
Just the opening for 1941, just that sealed the deal for me. I was like, no, because it opened like Jaws.
Yeah. Might be my favorite Belushi performance outside of Animal House.
Yeah. And then the whole throwing the just start off with Jaws, and the next thing you know, the woman in the water is she's getting tugged around, and it's a periscope to a Japanese.
Yeah, the periscope. It's great.
It's
that's a great spoof. Oh, that was a good one, Jimmy. I like that.
Oh yeah,
it's its own thing, but last year's Weird Al movie was pretty good.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's almost that's like a walk hard kind of.
Yeah. And I forgot, I know you don't really like him, but an actor that we didn't even mention in Hot Shot Part 2, Rowan Atkinson, he came out with his own Bond parody, Johnny English, and had a sequel to that. I only saw the first one. I liked it, but I also
they made a lot of spy spoofs after Austin Powers, which kind of diluted it a bit.
I was just happy that Mr. Bean was talking.
Would you consider Spy Kids to be a spoof?
I don't know if it's spoofing those.
Yeah. But it
could I don't know if Robert Rodriguez has much of a sense of humor.
I feel like we should pick two because this is it's tough. We're all raised by parody movies. To be I would quote Spaceballs daily for most of my life until
you would.
My favorite the current favorite spoof movie would have to be Tropic Thunder, just because of how they skew over. It's basically this generation's Hot Shots, I think, because it's it's not all visual gags, but the skewering that they do.
Well, that's the thing with Judd Apatow. You almost lean into it. And I was saying how I said Seth Rogen earlier. That's what I meant. You could go too far with some of these Judd Apatow players, but I think Judd Apatow himself gets it. So Tropic Thunder,
did the bubble.
We're gonna ignore that. Let's forget that happened.
We're going back.
Hey, wait, okay, I got another one. If we're doing two,
what are your two?
I'm gonna say Black Dynamite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone just told me to watch that. Actually,
it's great.
So Black Dynamite and
Final Tap.
I'm gonna go with Wet Hot American Summer. I'm gonna keep Young Frankenstein as well.
Nice.
So I got a newer one and an older one.
Yeah.
You got 1941 and you think of another.
I don't know. I was gonna snag Young Frankenstein from you because I just saw it recently.
Blazing Saddles is a spoof.
I don't know.
Naked Gun.
Monty
Yeah,
Python.
we can have the same one.
Ooh.
Yeah, we never
what is-
mentioned any of the Monty Python movies.
Yeah,
They're-
Monty
they're in the
Python's a
Holy
good
Grail.
one. I almost want to say
Yeah.
MASH as well, but MASH is like that's more of a
It's a straightforward, like the
Yeah,
novel was
It's just
supposed to be
satire.
satire.
yeah, satire. Yeah, not
Yeah,
quite
well, I guess-
spoofy enough.
I guess
I
Drop
guess
It
it gets a little
more of satire.
spoofy when they do the football bit. I think, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
What's your second one, Jeff?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Airplane.
Well,
Airplane and
Airplane and Spaceballs.
cool. Okay.
Just don't say Johnny Dangerous.
I guess I'll just pick another one so Jimmy can have the movie you watch without me.
Oh no! You take it. I'm gonna
I'll do Shaun of the Dead.
Hey,
Ah,
Or Hot Fuzz.
I like Shaun of the Dead better.
Okay, yeah. I guess it depends on what genre you like more, because I like Hot Fuzz more, but I like those buddy action movies more. That's why I
I
like.
do too. I just think Shaun of the Dead's maybe the best zombie film.
That's a hot take. Better than
It's-
Dawn.
Yes, I legitimately think it's a good zombie movie.
Mm,
After that, I don't think we needed to do zombies anymore.
that's sacrilege.
maybe in October we'll do another zombie.
Oh wait,
because
no.
I've got feelings about that. I've got thoughts.
Hmm.
Next
I'm
thing
gonna
say-
let you have Young Frankenstein.
Okay,
Oh,
fine.
my word.
I'll take Young Frankenstein. I know that was cringe, but worth it.
At least it's in the list. 1941 isn't even in the list of these parodies.
I guess it's not considered a parody, but I think it is.
Well, it's probably on the same lines as
I mean, Spielberg's parodying himself a little, especially when he did with that Jaws bit at the very beginning,
did,
and like,
He's spoofing like World War II melodramas.
which hasn't really ever been done otherwise
No,
that I can think of.
they probably that movie tanks, so it's probably
Probably sacrilege to people. I mean, doing it in what year did it come out? 80?
it was right after Jaws, so yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm sure all the boomers were like, how dare you?
Yeah, Slim Pickens
Spielberg was like,
Actually,
No, I
not
mean-
even the boomers. He's a boomer, so it'd be like the
actually, not gonna
silent
lie.
generation.
Anytime I remember like bringing up 1941 to like a lot of like adults at the time that I watched it. I was a teenager, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, they're like." So I don't think I don't know.
I just remember critics.
Maybe it didn't do so well because like they didn't realize it, like they just like they didn't expect that from Spielberg, because like I didn't realize like it didn't feel like a Spielberg movie watching it, honestly. So
That's our episode on Hot Shots and the spoof genre. I hope you enjoyed us lamenting its loss. Hopefully someday we'll see a resurgence of the genre. I would like to see it again. Maybe we'll be the ones to bring it about.
Well, if Jim calls Jeff, then we'll know.
Yeah, to make Hot Shots Part 3.
Let's go write some stuff.
33 and a third.
Next month, we're going to be covering something that was counter programming to Jurassic Park. Came out the same weekend. We had all never heard of it, but it has James Spader and Mandy Patinkin in it. And I don't know that any of you know anything about this, but it's basically about gambling, it seems.
It's like a
don't
proto
know what else.
Rounders or something.
Yeah, so it could be interesting about poker. So I think you'd like this, Jeff, hopefully. It's called The Music of Chance. It's barely out there, but that's why it got demolished by Jurassic Park. So
as it should have been.
they clearly were just like trying to fit it in right as much as they could. So, but we'll see. Maybe this is the perfect example of a hidden gem, something no one's ever heard of, so we can bring it to the audiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bring it to the
Michelle.
masses. The people must know.
Sing its
They
song.
must know.
As usual, rate, review, subscribe to all our stuff. You know, we're on YouTube, and obviously if you're watching, all this other stuff like Spotify, and just give us a review. That'll help us, I'm sure.
Yeah, or comment below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comment. Think about it.